Good afternoon, guys. Well, the Pendant project is done. It is completed. Um, Took the sliver of wood from this limb of eucalyptus. The only thing I carved with was the woodsman. Used sandpaper, wrapped around a little bit of brass rod here to kind of clean it up, and then sealed it with super glue. So let you see if you guys can get a good view of this. Really happy how this turned out. But now that this project is done, I actually had an idea for a second project. So let's talk about that. Hey guys, so I'm really happy with how that pendant turned out. It was a good experience for me because it just reinforced how much easier for me it is to carve with a larger blade, bringing material to the edge as opposed to bringing the edge of a smaller blade to the material. And as I was saying before, I got an idea for a new project. I was on TikTok, I think, and there was a Russian fella playing this kind of short, compact flute. There were several different ones. One was a 5-hole, one was a 6-hole, but it was all enclosed, and like you could fit the whole length of it, maybe that long. It's kind of perked my interest a little bit. I'm curious about this. I've got a little bit of an experience with flutes. This right here is a flute that I made about 20 years ago, maybe. And the wood is special. My family's farm was on the border of Douglas and Ozark County, Missouri. And even before the Civil War, the barn that was on this property was kind of a landmark. Everybody knew it. And of course, many years later, growing up, I used to play in that barn all the time. And as things, of course, happened, the farm got sold and we moved off. But years later, I went back to the current owners and asked if I could kind of poke around the site of where the old family barn was. And I was digging in that little field, and I found some of the original foundation logs that were still in the ground. Now, this is, I'm pretty sure this is white oak. It might be red oak, but my guess is it's white oak. And I was able to pull out a pretty decent sized chunk of it. Still had the hand hewn marks on the log, the shaping marks. And I was even able to save one of the blacksmith nails that was in the log, which is kind of cool. Square nail that they hammer out on an anvil. I made flutes for several years, and as I was saying, this was one of them. Let's see. This is considered a Native American style flute, a woodland flute. Got a real cool sound to them. The block on top and the end cap is out of cow bone. And I also did a little bit of inlaying with crushed turquoise. So I've got a little experience with making flutes. So now I'm really kind of curious if I could take a chunk of this eucalyptus from here in Costa Rica, the woodsman, some sandpaper, and recreate what I'm seeing on this guy's video. This is a little smaller diameter than what he was using, but not a ton smaller. The biggest thing I'm worried about with this piece of wood is that it's going to have to be split. Well, this is going to have to be removed right here. The mouthpiece, I'm assuming, is going to start somewhere up in here. So remove this and see what I've got to work with on the mouthpiece. It might end up being like that. But the main thing is I'm going to have to split this body. And eucalyptus it's not easy to work. So the first trick will be seeing if I can split this somewhat equally. And if I can do that, then hollow out the inside. This will be solid here. This will be solid here. This will be kind of shaped a little bit. And then put a, for lack of a better term, the whistle up here. And make this either a 6 or a 5-hole flute with the woodsman. Anyway, it might work, it might not, but I'm going to give it a shot. All right, as you guys can see, this is the end that's been exposed to air more than the other side. And it's got some cracks, and the center of the limb is definitely offset. We'll flip it around. Kind of gives you a better view. There's two ways of doing this, I guess. I could put the edge and baton right across that center and just take a section out, but I don't really think that's the route I want to go. I'm going to just put the edge right dead center and see if I can baton through it somewhat cleanly. It doesn't have to be perfect, but I do need a fairly straight break. Wish me luck. Jumped on me. As you guys can tell, fair centered on that side, off on that side, which that in itself is not that big a deal. However, I had a section of wood blow out there. Looks like over here too. I'm not quite sure why, but it sheared this and that down. And this might work, but do you see how it's kind of curled? I'm past the halfway mark, so it's kind of curled up. I've got to hollow this out, and I think that's going to be kind of a pain. So we're going to set this one aside and try this one. All right. There we go. I hope you're all comfortable. I got you leaned up against my uncle's old toolbox. All right, so let's remove a little bit of this eucalyptus bark. We've got woodsman holding it like this, resting on my leg. I don't want to bite into the wood. Eucalyptus got that tight bark on it. See how that's coming off? Let's see if I can turn around here a little. You guys can see a little bit better what I'm doing. Just peeling that off. I'm not worried about matching the inside up just yet. Once I get everything kind of hollered out, I'll hit sandpaper on both sides on a flat surface, and to make sure both sides fit just right. And main reason why I want the bark out of the way is I want to make sure there's no surprises that I wasn't ready for, cracks I didn't know about, things like that. Like this crack here, which pretty much it starts here but it doesn't go into the wood. This one goes almost full length. I knew that was going to be there ahead of time, so that's fine. Worst comes to worst, if it gives me a problem, I'll hit it with some super glue, or if it splits, I'll hit it with wood glue. All right, cool. It is a tight bark. The other piece here. By the way, the glove, don't go looking for that online. That's nothing special. That's my dog chewed it, and this is what was left over. It's a one of a kind. All right, there we go. I don't see any extra cracks there. We got the little knot here, little knot right there. And almost done. I like having my thumb and my palm protected a little bit, just in case I get lazy and put too much pressure behind it or something like that, just to protect my hand. All right, cool. There we go. There. Okay, took the pencil and marked out kind of where I want the air chamber to be. Parts back in here is going to be solid. And we flip this over on this side. This is where the whistle is. So that little mark there is, I'll show you here, pretty much the same thing as this. It's just a nice straight chamber for the air to shoot across and get split right there. So I'm going to have to copy that here, and that hole will be just past this wall. Copy that, and then there will be, with this design, the block is actually looks like it's glued across. So I'll find another piece of material to do that with. I'm going to hold off on trying to level this out. I'm curious if I can go ahead and make the air chambers and leave the side walls, the edges there, untouched. I think that will give me a better look whenever I glue everything back together. I'd like it to look like it was all one solid piece, but we'll see. Jury's still out on that. But next step, take out, empty out the air chambers, get all that material out of there, and then prep the whistle. That will be interesting to cut with a woodsman. And don't forget, there's going to be 5 or 6 holes, 2 to 3 per side, and that will be fun too.